Good evening, everybody. My name is Rick Ross. I'm with Penny High School up in Hamilton, Missouri, north central part of the state. Welcome everyone from Dr. Godwin's graduate level Foundations of Education class. This is going to be an interesting experience. My soapbox presentation today, I want to address growth mindset in some terms. That is, I don't consider myself an expert. However, I think you'll find as along the way as I reach that subject that I do know a few things about kids in general and human beings in general. There are many contributing factors to academic success. Students not getting not enough formative assessment, a lack of formative assessment, not enough feedback. There's a lack of remediation. Without feedback, you can hardly remediate. Adjust, differentiate instruction if you have nothing to base it on. There's also a huge part is teacher mindset, and in this particular case, and it's not a huge climate issue, but it's enough that I believe it could merit some attention, and that's mindset. And teachers are kind of fixed in their mindset. A common theme with this group of students in this middle school is that they're not very motivated. Now, anytime I've ever talked to a teacher about changing mindset, and I've actually given 2 professional development series to our high school, middle school staff about growth mindset, changing their mindset is more difficult than students. And one of the things that we addressed in our second session was, how do you teach it? Well, I don't know that you actually teach it. And that's one of the things that comes under attack when you want to adopt these philosophies and looking at Angela Duckworth's grit, Carol Dweck's growth mindset. I don't think you can take them as their individual entity and throw it out and call it a curriculum. We're not going to teach them a growth mindset. We're going to kind of look at Sean Covey's circle of control. There's only so many things that we can control, and we certainly can't control the precipitating factors that they bring to the table. We can't control, how tall they are, or actually what IQ they bring to the table. That's there. It can change over time, yes, but at that given moment, that's definitely far from our control. So I prefer to use the term influence. And we can influence their mindset, and I think that we can introduce many lessons into any curriculum, and they're available, tremendous resources on the internet. But we need to look at optimism. They need to have little mini lessons in optimism. Need to have many lessons in self-control. Delayed gratification goes with self-control. We've actually done an experiment where we put young kids, and we copied the experiment from somewhere, put some preschool kids in a room with 2 little marshmallows. And we told them if they could go without eating those 2 little marshmallows for 5 minutes, then we would give them a huge marshmallow. And it was one that was about the size of a small baseball. And some of them, as soon as you walked out of the room, just ate those marshmallows. They couldn't wait. Some of them picked them up and sniffed them and nibbled on them a little bit and tried to get away and make you think that they had not touched them or eaten them. And then some who just sat there and waited. And when we came back in, you gave them that huge marshmallow. I think that was a long-lasting lesson that they're going to take with them as far as delayed gratification. They put off for 5 minutes and got the reward of this huge marshmallow that meant the world to them at that point in time. So self-control, perseverance, sticking with something, they need little lessons in that. They need to struggle, and that's where teachers have conflict as well, as allowing students time to struggle. Then specific growth mindset exercises. And then they need to learn pride. They need to learn to take pride in what they're doing. They need to understand that just hurrying through an assignment or just getting the feat done is not persevering or showing pride in your work. Pride is in the detail and the struggle. And then long-term goal setting, I think, is probably the most important thing. Now, that's very difficult for even a high school age student to grasp, but long-term goal setting, you begin with short-term and build, but long-term goal setting is a huge indicator of grit, as Angela Duckworth would say. The next thing that I consider myself very in tune with is not trauma-based instruction in itself, but recognizing precipitating factors, as they are called, things that people bring to the table that affect their day. And we as adults have them, experience them every day. If you're late to work one morning because you had a flat tire, any professional that is late for work, it's traumatizing. I had a first-year teacher across the hall from me this year. First year, he oversleeps. His alarm doesn't go off. He uses his cell phone for an alarm, which brings you back to Sir Ken. He uses his cell phone for everything, and he forgot to turn it on, and hence he didn't wake up. So he was late for work, and the young man was literally in tears, thinking that this was the end of his teaching career. But he's got the mindset that he knows that it was very irresponsible, but it happens, and that's definitely a precipitating factor. His day was a wreck. Another precipitating factor that adults have, if you have a fight with your spouse when you're leaving for work in the mornings, sometimes it affects your mood. You have to walk in your classroom and be on point and have your smile on your face and ready to greet everyone, and you've just had a big fight with your spouse. It happens. Your son was late for work, and he rides to school with you each morning, and he forgets his football equipment, and you have to turn around and backtrack a mile to get it, and it makes you a couple minutes late, or even just on time. Either one, when you are operating on the guise that being 15 minutes early is on time, and that's the way you've been raised, then that's stress on you. So all these things are precipitating factors. Those are as adults. Look at all those that we can bring to the table. Now, students, let's look at all the precipitating factors that they can bring to the table. They've got poverty. They've got parents that are incarcerated. They've got parents that work. Both parents are gone when they leave for school. Both parents are gone when they get home from school. They've got some of them single-parent homes. In fact, that's the majority. Well, not the majority, but there are a lot of students that have single-parent homes. There are homeless kids. We've got kids in our district that are living with other families because their family parents are incarcerated or have left for other situations and not been able to afford to take them and just left them with friends. So in all essence, are homeless. We've got children dealing with parents with chronic illness. We've got students dealing with chronic illness. We've got drug abuse in the home. We've got drug abuse by students, drug abuse by parents, drug abuse by friends that will sleep on the couch. We've got smoking, just cigarette smoking. We've got mental health issues. All these things are precipitating factors that these students bring to school each day when they come through our door. And fixing the mindset to be a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, and say that these students are unmotivated to learn, and switching it around and having an understanding that they're bringing these precipitating factors to the table, I believe is going to be a huge step in addressing simply addressing test scores. So, given these lessons and ideas, this is not a cure-all, but hopefully I'm just making a little foam on the bucket with my soap. I had a lecture today of it was a snow day, so we didn't have to go to school. So I was able to finish this product. And in the morning, I watched Suicide Squad, which is a very interesting movie. And there's a character in there named the Killer Croc, and he's a man who looks like a croc. He's got crocodile skin, and he's obviously not very attractive. And so in the narrative, they said he looked like a monster, so they treated him like one. And these kids that bring precipitating factors to the table often carry that baggage with them. And we need to be able to recognize it. And I think that's a huge step, and where that fits in with my overall plan of addressing achievement in English language arts or overall achievement in the middle school is yet in progress. But some thoughts that I had, do we reinforce the prophecy of nature? Do we, by not taking the time to understand or look for precipitating factors, are we reinforcing the prophecy of nature, just letting it take its course and not using any of our influence that we have access to help guide that student on a different path? Can we influence the prophecy of nature through nurture? Of course, huge argument. But I believe that if we proactively increase belief in students and staff, that we can see a change in student achievement and involvement. And I believe that they go hand in hand. I don't think we've got a curriculum issue in what we're trying to teach them or even the methods, but I think just wholesale mindset and just accepting or thinking that's the way they are and there's not a thing we can do about it is very remiss on our part. So I thank you for your time, and I believe I've regressed from growth mindset to precipitating factors, but I hope that you can see or understand where they all come together and maybe give you something to think about. Wish y'all luck on your projects. Looking forward to seeing them.